that throughout the day. Sometimes feels a little bit exhausting, but it's starting to feel uplifting and enlightening. So welcome everybody to our Equinox Diamond Light upgrade session. I see quite a few of you actually looking very comfortable, which is fantastic for the time that we're going to spend together. Maxine says I've become much more sensitive. Yeah, that's absolutely what's actually happening with the energy at the moment. And just, you see behind me, this is the sort of backdrop that I've got that I'm using. I'm using various light codes at the moment, but this is the Freedom Light Code for those of you that are familiar with them. And we're going to be working with the light code, this one, as well as another one in today's session. So there's a couple of components that are going to come in today. But I just like that it looks a bit like the sun and the beautiful golden frequencies shining behind. So that's what it is. So it'll be broadcasting into your space as we go through the process. And that's the whole idea. So let me just see. I think I just want to double check that everybody's on mute. We've just got one more coming in now. So I just want to check that. Now, this particular image, as you all know, I don't think it's anything that I really need to reiterate. I think we're all very, very familiar with the fact that the equinoxes represent points and times of balance here on the earth. It's the time of equal day and equal night. It is also, and that's why I've actually chosen this image, it's a reminder for us of what our ancient ancestors actually knew and understood about aligning with the natural cycles of the planet. There are monuments. In fact, it's difficult to believe that this could have been created. For me, it looks like a natural stone formation that is actually aligned with the rising sun at the equinox. And this is one of the stone guardians, or the rock guardians, as I actually call them, in the Magaliesberg Mountains in South Africa. And it's just phenomenal how these rocks and stones are so strategically aligned that they get the light through either an eye or through a special portal in the rock. And I've chosen this because it is a reminder for us that the alignment with the natural cycles is also at a much deeper level, and more and deeply embedded alignment with the natural world and with the flow of energy through the natural world. And that is, if you like, the new matrix that is actually arising within which we are embedded. So I just love this image of this face profile in the rocks that I think is a natural rock formation, but just so beautifully aligned with the sun in its eye and through its eye at sunrise on the equinox. So let's not forget what this represents, not just balance, but deep alignment with the natural world. So for those of you that are also new to this, because I know I've seen a few new registrations coming through with names that I actually haven't seen before. This is not your fluffy, usual, new agey type approach to things. The diamond consciousness is not that. The diamond consciousness is a deep recognition of that which exists within us, that is arising from within us, that is being constantly purified on a day-to-day basis, and each and every time that we come together in community. It is a consciousness of clarity. It's a consciousness of truth. It is the energy and the essence of freedom, of transparency. It is the energy of the new matrix that is being regenerated, that is actually forming. It is part of the fundamental fabric that knits together the whole of life. So that's just in a top level summary, is what it is. So everything that we do through the diamond, and it is always about embodiment. So there is always a physical element that is embraced through the processes that we do. So it's less about going out there for anything and more about coming within to enable that consciousness to arise and be expressed within us. So just very briefly, if any of the rest of you have anything to add, please feel free to do it in the chat room, because some of you have been with this community for an extended period of time. And for that, I am supremely grateful. So wonderful that you're all here. Was it Maxine says it kicks your bottom in a good way to bring in the light and more positivity to shift you? Absolutely. And that also means facing everything that the light brings up that is not of that quality. And this is not about polarities. This is because there is a false light and the light and the dark that are playing against one another. It is the ultimate light that illuminates the entire natural fabric of life, of which we are an integral part. So it's a beautiful construct. It's actually an amazing recognition and a wonderful energetic tool to work with. So thank you for those comments. There's been lots of things used to describe the diamond over the years. And this is a quote on the front page that I just really love, because I thought this is inherent with everything that we do from here on. And of course, we have been doing this to a large extent, but as our priorities and values change and adjust in accordance with the new impulses that are actually flowing through life, it almost becomes, it changes its priority and its position. And that is that care is the new currency. And that's care of ourselves, for ourselves. It's care for the natural world. It's care for other people, not to the detriment of ourselves, but as a natural way of being. And that care can actually extend itself and be expressed in so many different ways. And one of the most simple ways is where we actually spend our resources and how we actually apply our resources. You know, do we go and buy that £1 t-shirt at Primark, or do we actually decide to support somebody who is endeavoring to manufacture in such a way that is kind to the world? So it's care. And we might want to, at this stage and through this equinox, perhaps use the opportunity to reevaluate what that concept of care means to us, because that is an aspect of the responsibility of freedom. That is our inner freedom that comes along with it as well. What that means, how we actually apply it in our lives, and what adjustments we can make, because the path that we are on at the moment is literally, it's like one small step in front of the other all the time. Each decision is one small step in the right direction. So just wanted to highlight that, because I thought it's a beautiful value to embrace and to hold to our hearts. So this is a reminder for the rest of you, and it is also a highlight for those who have not been exposed to this before. But the diamond is something, as I mentioned, that's inherently an aspect of the matrix of life itself, the currents that run through life. And it is following the diamond. This is an image that was actually created by a South African guy called Dean Laprini, who was guided to follow a lot of the ancestral monuments and these rock guardians on a specific route. Each step of the way, he was actually guided, and it happened over a number of years. And what he found ultimately was that as the sun moves across the surface of the earth on an annual basis, through the equinoxes and through the solstices, it automatically follows a path that creates a diamond and inscribes that diamond across the surface of the earth. So when we align with the natural flow, when we are out there embracing the sun, you know, sort of sunbathing, forest bathing, whatever it is, because the natural kingdom absorbs the consciousness and frequencies from the sun, which in turn absorbs the frequencies from the our galactic environment, from the Milky Way, etc. So all of that consciousness is actually flowing through the natural world as the sun moves on its cycles on an annual basis. So this is just a reminder of how the diamond, as part of the universal fabric that knits everything together, is actually significant for each and every one of us, as well as for the planet. So let's remember that. Okay. Let's just get this. I'm trying to do this without losing the chat screen, because every time I do, it disappears. Okay, so let's have a look at the signature, the energetic signature of this specific equinox, as well as the astrological alignments, in terms of what the guidance is for us at this particular time, what the gifts are in respect of our alignment, acknowledgement, and recognition of this particular moment in time. So as always, we have a look at the Mayan Tolkien calendar, which is one of those that has actually revealed itself. This is not the popularized version of the Tolkien. This is the original understanding and decoding of the Tolkien from many of the Mayan elders, that was fed through Johann Kalaman, as well as a couple of other individuals who understand it. So what we're really looking at is the cycles of the ninth wave, which is the highest expression of consciousness that's been birthing on the planet since 2011. And where we're at with the ninth wave is we are actually in a nighttime cycle of the ninth wave, which means it's a time for introspection and it's a time for healing. It is a deep time to let go. So really significant to be aware of that. There's lots of numerological significance, but I'm not actually going to about today, so I'm not going to go into too much detail with that at the moment. But what is significant about this current energetic signature is the demarcation of this day, which is known as 12 Chuen, or monkey, as it's known in the Mayan signatures. And I loved it because the description of the monkey, now this is one website that I've been using quite frequently, the understanding of what these energetic signatures are is very deep and very profound, and the website is jaguarspirit.com. So I give that to you so that you guys can actually explore further, because I always love to give credit wherever credit is due, wherever the information is coming from. But the beautiful description of the energetics of today is applying the light to life. And I thought this is really beautiful, because at the spring equinox, we're actually celebrating the return of the light. We're celebrating the dawning of a new season of new growth, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. I need to clarify that, that's the Northern Hemisphere. But it is a new dawning. It is a shift in cycles. So this is applying the light to life. And this is described as 12 being the symbol of human. So it's the human being and our embodiment, the being of duality that resides in the lower place, but is guided by the one above. 12 holds the potential value of the 13, which is significant in the Tolkien calendar. When the two below is united as for one for a divine reason. So we come here as a community, as a group, as a united community, in order to recognize and acknowledge the one that we are through our interconnection, and the one that is woven through the diamond light grid of life itself. So sun, how shines its pillar, its light as a pillar for new and higher faith to stand. And again, the beauty of this, reading these words, you'll see with the astrological celestial significances, the beautiful synchronicities and parallels again, as you actually watch this flow through the rest of the influences at this time. On the equinox, the sun stays in place for the time to be seen and acknowledged under the order of the light of life, love, and happiness. Leaning into the light, we see ourselves and our life from a new angle. And this is really a significant aspect of this moment, is the opportunity to bear witness to our lives and to be able to experience the freedom of perspective that enables us to understand ourselves from a completely different view. Tone 12 Now, tone 12 refers to this on the glyph, which is these 2 bars and 2 dots. Each of the bars represents number 5. Each of the dots represents 1. So that's 5, 10, and 2 is 12. So that's really what that relates to. And that has actually got associations with the moon, but don't worry so much about that. What tone 12 refers to is all of the dissociated pieces and parts of truth that are brought together in a meaningful whole. So it is this particular time an opportunity for wholeness, to draw in all of those disparate parts, to recreate ourselves into a new definition of what wholeness actually means for us and for humanity and for the world. Tone 12 is the day we see the light. In synchronicity with the equinox, the time is marked by a light that descends from above. And just really beautiful understanding here, if we have a look now at the detail of the glyph, which is monkey. So again, we can feel spring in the air. Spring shares the experience of waking up to the beauty of the world. On the equinox, we are feeling one with the universe, sharing the same divine cause for a new beginning. And that is the equinox, because it's a diamond time, it knits everything together. We realign, we have an opportunity to realign with that fabric that is all one. The time was given to know a time in synchronicity on a universal scale, one truth for everything. And this is also important, time as a factor, because time is a construct that is relevant to many different cycles in our lives. This is one of the cycles that we're experiencing through the earthly experience, through the equinox at the moment. But we also have grand cycles in time, which represents those massive and enormous shifts in consciousness. One of those is associated with the ninth wave, for instance. Those of you who've been with me through various classes will understand that there have been evolutionary leaps in the development of all life on Earth, mankind, etc., with the disappearance of certain life forms and the emergence of new life forms, which is described by various grand cycles in time. And those cycles incorporate sort of 5,000 years and 10,000 years and 26,000 years and 26 million years. So there are cycles within cycles within cycles of time. And that is all coming together. Those gears have all turned to the point where all of it is coalescing at this particular juncture in time to enable us to move into a brand new cycle of evolution. So this is enormous what we're going through. It's an enormous transition, and it is an opening to the truth in each and every moment. So monkey, or Chuen, who is the energy of this particular signature today, is the archetype of the creator and the weaver of time, a master of all art, sees the opportunity of time and the power to create the beauty of love by intention. And I thought that is just a really beautiful way of understanding this signature. So it is, at this moment, as well as we face the shift over of seasons, we have the opportunity to witness and to bear witness to the creation of such beauty through the natural world, as new life starts emerging with the movement of the sun and the warming up of our season, if you like. So it's the beauty of love, and that is the love of nature expressed very naturally, and that's really what we are learning to be and to embrace within ourselves, is the totality of that love, which is way beyond the fluffy human understanding of what love is. Monkey sees the unlimited possibilities of the imagination when it's directed by conscious thoughts and divine intentions. And it's not about the mind, it is about an impulse that actually arises from within, that imagining of the world that we know is possible and the freedom to be able to create it in every moment with our deepest intention and energetic focus. Monkey resides in the West, which is the direction of our unknown future. And I mean, geez, that's like pretty standard at the moment. We don't know as we move forward through each of these mini cycles what the future holds. You know, we can kind of take a pretty good stab at what it is that's intended when we look at the patterning of the bigger picture and what is intended for us by other spurious elements upon this planet. But the future and the way that it's actually going to play out is largely determined by our engagement in the process and our intention. So it's very, very much an unknown at the moment. The only thing that we do know as we move through is that what is old is disappearing, what is new is beginning very slowly to emerge, and it's emerging through us and by us. Monkey knows that love is the light of life along with the power to create it. Monkey or transcends a light to see that we hold the reins to choose our own divine destiny. With every creation of love, the monkey knows how it will multiply in time. And I just want to draw your attention to, at this moment, having looked at those words, is all of the freedom rallies that are going on around the world. Today, of all days, they chose this day, and I doubt very much that they consulted the Mayan calendar when they chose the equinox, or today is the day where they were actually going to do that. But all of those people that are in the streets, whether we recognize it or not, have chosen that as an opportunity to express their alignment with their divine destiny and the freedom that that represents. So it just is really fascinating, all of the alignments that actually, all of the things that line up, if you like, in correspondence with what is actually happening at this moment in time. So pretty fascinating stuff. Liz says, first ever on these chats, I've lit candles, beautiful healing ones from Witchy Candles, best I've ever experienced. That's thank you, Liz. So wonderful that you've actually got some candles lit for us as we go through the healing process today. So I hope this is making sense for you guys. I know that those of you who've been with me for a while will understand it. Those of you who are relatively new to the process, it might take a while. Don't worry about it. It's a beautifully aligned energetic. We're going to go through a process that maximizes our opportunities at this time in order to upgrade the purity and the love of our own being. So just a little bit more on this. Chuen shares the light for a happy life. It isn't ruled by silly human emotions. I love this. Why waste time to forgive when in one stroke of light, darkness can be swept, I think that's a typo, can be swept out of the whole picture, leaving the most beautiful light of human creation. So it's an opportunity for each and every one of us to re-look at ourselves as an expression of the light of creation and truly value, recognize, and honor the gift of the light that we are. Beneath all of the shadows, and it doesn't matter what we've done, where we've been with our lives, we are the purity of that light at our very core. What is it exactly that we think we're giving up with the choice to forgive? What exactly are we holding on to? It's common sense to the monkey that being right isn't consecrated as a thing of beauty. Whenever we think we're right, that's using the brain, we've lost the whole point. No one ever looks at a masterpiece of art and admires how right it is unless it's a blueprint, as in an architectural, precise lines measured, etc., etc. The monkey's only blueprint for life is to throw the colors everywhere to see what a supreme creator marks as the beauty of our love. And I thought that is just really, really beautiful. So what are the colors that you are creating with? Where are you actually spreading them? Where are you throwing off those colors in your life in order to be able to create that beauty? And it doesn't matter what it is. You know, it's like just one small decision, one small step, one little thing that says, I want to help that person today. I want to care in that way today. Each one of those is actually splashing the color of who you are into a different space within the matrix. So it's just a really beautiful understanding. So let's have a look at the celestial. Let's have a look. Bunny said, may want to try out. Oh, that's Thrive On. Check out Thrive On. and the Freedom Talks, and then the Solutions app, which will launch in May. It is uplifting, and to see how some of the new is emerging if you want to get involved. That I love. Thank you, Bonnie. Yes, I would highly, highly recommend that to anybody. Because that new movie it's very hopeful. So no matter what we see going on out there, that is dying. The old systems, the old structures are going. It's just a matter of time. And, we kind of almost in the new age arena been conditioned to this, instantaneous this and instant gratification of that. It's not. It's going to take the next couple of years. But one of the things that's also really, really hopeful, I was actually listening to Dr. McCullough the other day, and this is a follow-on from having come across Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the internet, who's been talking about a new internet that is actually being birthed. And Dr. McCullough is involved in a massive project with a number of billionaires to create a brand new internet that will be free of the tech giants. So that is just, it's so positive. It's on the way. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not because what we do today is going to generate all of that tomorrow, but what we do today becomes part of the momentum that is actually fueling that. And I think that is just so important that we recognize we are here for the cause, that this is an ongoing process. So, Bunny, let's just have a look. Some of that is on the Solutions Hub. Rachel, I'm definitely feeling more and more to act in each moment. Yes. And being shown where I'm still playing small and acting from my patterns. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's time to start playing big. It's time to follow that impulse that arises from within and to experience the freedom that comes from doing that. Because as I said in the newsletter, freedom is an inside job. It comes from within us. So lovely comments. Thank you for sharing those. So wonderful things to follow up with. So let's have a look at the celestial influences at the moment. We have, and these are taken from Kaipacha, the Pele report in the last week. So, I move around between different sources in respect of the astrological insights. These are coming from Kaipacha. The Sun and Venus in Aries representing big shifts and new beginnings. So really beautiful. Again, alignment for new growth, new birth, new life, new light. It is the end and start of cycles. And that's not just about the equinox. It's about the celestial influences and the energetics of what they actually support us with. It's about the emergence of new forms, which is exactly what we're talking about. New solutions that they are there. It's a potentiality that is humming beneath the surface that is being fueled by each and every one of our contributions. It's about loving ourselves back to life. Now, compare that as well, go back to Monkey, and what were we talking about? It's the love and the beauty of expression. So loving ourselves back to life through that sort of creative splashing of color everywhere, wherever we are. It is also and can be an emotional time, and I think it's important that we recognize this and to not beat ourselves up about it, because what you thought life was or what you thought you were here for is changing. And this I see with a lot of people also is this constant thought, the lack of realization that if they undertake certain interventions, then life will go back to normal. It's never going back to what it was. What we thought life was and who we thought we were and what we were here for, that is all changing. And there's we spoke about this in the Golden Diamonds group. There's a really deep grief associated with that, and with that letting go. So we're letting go of everything that we thought we knew or understood about this life. Everything is like literally falling apart. Potentiality and impulse below the surface is pushing to emerge. That's that new growth that we were talking about. It is that creative force, the lightning in the blood that we spoke about last month, firing up. It's there beneath the surface. It's there in our bodies. We want to create the space now for that expression. Rachel says it's actually exciting to know that what we felt is becoming more visible. Yes, absolutely. And it is day by day by day. So we just need to celebrate each day. And it's not that easy, let's be honest. We've said this actually so often, because it can be quite distressing or depressing when you actually see the polarization that's taking place in society. And oh my goodness, we're doomed, you know, the tyrannical overplay of certain powers. And yet there is something incredibly enlivening and exciting about our role through this particular transition. So this is about uprooting and turning over the soil for new growth, which is a very powerful concept. Because we are uprooting everything that we thought we knew, everything that anchored us here in this reality, into a false matrix, a false sense of security. And we're turning over the soil so that we can re-anchor the purity of the new matrix into and anchor ourselves into the natural world. And that's more than just going out and hugging trees. You know, it's like truly recognizing the natural aspect of who we are. We don't have to live in a cabin in the woods in order to realize that. Deep letting go of what was. And along with that, in terms of this uprooting and letting go, we see the mirroring on Earth through Earth changes and Earth movements. And this is really significant. Because today there was a very, very large earthquake. We see these rifts, the cracking and the opening up of the earth in order to release everything that she has held on to for so long. So what we've seen is a very large earthquake. We're also seeing volcanic eruptions as the magma from deep within the earth is actually rising to the surface. So it's changing the landscape. And it was very interestingly, there are usually earth changes of some kind and solar changes over these significant portals such as equinoxes and solstices. So it's no surprise that we're actually experiencing this at the moment. So Earth herself is actually undergoing a great deal of change, as are we. So Rachel says here, it's a constant flip between feeling powerfully determined to stand firm in our knowing and then feeling totally flat watching the movie play out. Absolutely. And it's actually allowing and enabling ourselves to actually flow through that process, and to more and more and more kind of become the observer of it, and to stand firm in the sovereignty of the golden sovereignty of our own internal freedom in terms of facing up to it. And relinquishing everything within us that still wants a savior or somebody to tell us what to do, because this is up to us. And thank you. Dutch Sense on YouTube is a fantastic guy to follow about the earth changes and seismic activity. Yes, he follows the patterning of seismic activity. And in fact, he predicts a lot of things that are taking place around the world. And he has natural foresight because he sees the patterning. So yeah, very well worthwhile. In fact, he will actually predict things before the mainstream media will even mention it. So it's very, very well worthwhile following him. So yes, we see a volcanic eruption with a lot of ash that could actually change also the potential for any airline travel, even were it possible at this particular moment in time. So yeah, we'll see. And this I had to share because this was just really significant. A number of you in the community are also participating in a journey with Jacqueline Hobbs, Dr. Jacqueline Hobbs. Her website is oraclegirl.org if you guys want to follow it. But she mentioned a few things yesterday that were just so significant. In fact, it was a very emotional and very high frequency event, purification events that we've participated in. It was really quite phenomenal. Yeah, Rachel, it was one of the most powerful purifications I've experienced. My experience was heart palpitations. For some, it was difficulty staying awake, but there was definitely an incredible frequency around what she was working with yesterday. And it was specifically orientated and working around water and purification of water. But what she says, and these are just some quotes from her, we are gearing up for a new element in addition to the earth or wood, air, fire, and water. It will replace what we currently understand as space or ether. And that is interesting in and of itself, because the natural structure of the vacuum or of space or ether, which many of you will know, according to Buckminster Fuller and to the Resonance Foundation, is tetrahedral geometry held together by octahedral pyramidal geometry that is responsible for helping to transfer the new codes, the new energy into our beingness. So as I said, the diamond fabric is part of the very structure of reality. It's not a loose, fluffy concept. It is something that has been expressly understood as part of the geometric fabric of the natural kingdom that holds us all together. So it is also part and parcel of the fabric that is enabling and facilitating this new element, if you like, to be birthed. One could almost say that it is the element of an diamond consciousness, a high frequency level of consciousness. Agreed. Thanks, Ban. The other thing that was said was also, we are seeing the emergence of the global nature intelligence system. And I love that quote, because I thought that's what it is. The emergence of that is something that operates through us as well. So we are part and parcel of that. The clearer we become, the more untethered we are to the old system, the more that natural intelligence system becomes globalized through us. So that's part and parcel of what we're doing. When we bathe in the planetary waters, which flow through our bodies, don't forget that we are 70% water. It is the same water that is recycled through our bodies as exists in the planetary waters. We are bathing in the consciousness of the Milky Way galaxy. And if we can understand that, the consciousness of the Milky Way, which also is part and parcel of what's transmitted through our sun, it's comprised of trillions of stars and cosmic bodies, each one of which is interplaying with the other in a cosmic dance of life itself. And I just thought that's a beautiful image to actually understand. And the focus yesterday was on this Purify Canada and purifying the waters of Canada. And I found this image and I thought, this is it's just beautiful. Look at the mountains, look at the purity, the color of the water. One can actually feel the clarity, the purity, the essence, even just from that image of what those waters embody and represent. So I wanted to share that with you, because there is an aspect today of balancing the elements of earth and water. Last month we worked with fire, and this time we are actually working with earth and water balancing as part and parcel of our release and part and parcel of embracing the new codes of the planetary water system, as received by and from the Milky Way galaxy. So that's really the essence of what we're going to be following today with the process. Just quite amazing. And then just as a reminder, I mean, just look at this. You know, we tend to look at that image and it's sort of an outline of a flow, but every single one of the pinpricks of light within this image, which is our amazing Milky Way galaxy, of which we are part of, which is part of our home, is a star. It's a star that burns so brightly, you know, that gives birth to and actually fuels life itself. So just an incredible vista. And if you've ever been out certain parts of the world as well where there's no light pollution, and you see the Milky Way galaxy on the sky above against that velvety background, it's just the most incredible experience. It's both humbling and awe-inspiring at the same time. So let's not forget what we are part of. You know, we are part of the continuum of life through this. So I've just left this up from the past 2 sessions just to remind you, and it was really for those that haven't seen it, just to understand the pyramidal octahedral relationship in the blood, because at the center of your blood is a molecule called hemoglobin. And that hemoglobin is made up of chains of iron atoms, which are pyramidal in nature, but they are joined in such a way that the ultimate form of that chain is a chain of diamonds, or octahedra. So right at the fundamental structure of your being from a very biological perspective are these octahedral cavities, forms, metals that actually support the interchange with life, both metaphysically as well as physically. So that's all I want to say about that. There is more information in a sort of other broadcasts, and if you want more, I think it was the January and February ones where I went into a little bit more detail with that. Okay, this is just an indication of the different elements, their relationship to the blood, as well as to our DNA and what our DNA ultimately expresses. Air ether, which is the new, what's the word? The new element that is actually coming in that will impact on our blood, that will facilitate the evolution of new codes within our bodies and the restructuring of our bodies, because the blood conveys that energetic signature to the DNA, and our DNA responds to the energetic environment that it is in. It is also about the balancing of the other elements as means of being able to transmit those codes, because they come in through the atmosphere. They are embedded within the earth through the wood element, through the trees, the rocks, etc., chiefly through the plant kingdoms and the animal kingdoms, and then also through the waters, very, very significantly through the waters. And don't forget, our blood is bathed in plasma, which is water. So that's just very briefly. Now, one of the things that came to me, and I just want to share this with you, is it really struck me that it felt very appropriate. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Yeah, it was very interesting that Jacqueline said, we are the pyramids, and I loved it. We are the pyramidal technology that is accessing and distributing those codes. And like right there at the fabric of our body, we are physically. So thank you for that reminder. Okay, so I just love these pictures. So I was sitting and I thought, we haven't worked with the white animals other than the white lion. I think we had the white crocodile a while ago. But it really sort of sat with me that there was a white animal that actually wanted to come and play with us today in this process. And the one that popped up so strongly straight away was the white otter. And when I looked at the energetics of the white otter, you know, one would think with it, the signature today being the monkey, that it would probably be the monkey that would actually pop up. Well, it wasn't. It was the white otter. But when I looked at the energy of it, I thought that's everything that signature is encompasses, the Mayan signature within this particular animal. And that is balancing water and earth, because it's a mammal that moves backwards and forwards between water and the land. It is sleek, it flows, it has a very graceful ease of transition between those two elements. So it represents the beauty of that connection and the flow. It is also joyful, playful. and imaginative. And one of the things that I found out about otters as well, which is really quite amazing, is that they have the most incredible problem-solving abilities when they are, sort of building dams or picking up pieces of foliage and sticks and rocks and things, a bit like beavers. They also do build, otters also do, kind of build dams. But they are incredible problem solvers, and they utilize their imagination. And what were we talking about with the signature of today? It's playing, using our imagination and those creative capacities, not to think, but to actually engage with a different elements and aspects of our being. They're also hardworking, resourceful, creative. They're great at finding new ideas and ways out of problems. Dedicated and wise. They're about family and healing, curiosity and expanded perspectives, community oriented, and always geared towards positive outcomes. Like, we will find a way. The outcome is going to be positive. We will find a way. And I thought this is just so aligned with where we are at, because all of those qualities are exactly what we are looking for. What we're being asked to embrace and express at the moment is new ways, new ideas, new ways out of old problems, using our innate wisdom, what we have within us, healing a family, the letting go in the ninth wave night. That's where we are at the moment. The letting go in the family stuff. Community oriented. We stand in community because we know we gain strength by establishing those contacts with each other and not trying to do everything alone. And positive outcomes and holding on to the new dawn, the new growth, and the opportunities that are arising. And I thought, yeah, thanks, Bun. How interesting. It's perfect. Never knew all that about otters. Neither did I. And that's the beauty of it. So you guys know how I work. It's kind of like everything kind of like falls together in such a beautiful way. And it was just, I know we need a white animal. Which one is it? It's the otter. And I went and looked and I went, oh, this is just so perfect to work with us today. So Hilary says, we are supposed to have some living upstream from us, but not seen any yet. Beautiful. Well, I hope you do get to see them, Hilary, because now you can actually get a feel for what they represent. So they are just beautifully aligned with the energies of the moment. Let's work with them through the process to actually support our engagement, our letting go, our healing, our embracing of all of those aspects, the opening up to be able to express our freedom, that we can feel that freedom within and express it in much more creative, community inspired ways. So that's that. So there's 2 light codes. So we're going to work with the white otter. We are also going to work with 2 light codes, and those are release, and that just seemed perfect for the beginning. So we will use this code and freedom. Now, this, just to give you just a little bit of insight as well, these 2 codes, light codes, diamond light codes, were the first 2 light codes that I ever experienced as living codes of light, as living consciousness. And it was a fascinating process, because it goes back to 2003 and 2004 when I was first shown them and knew that it was a language of some kind. And then little bit by little bit, I started to gain insight. But the very first thing that I saw was the release code actually zipping, if you like, through my head, alive and moving. And that was my first sort of recognition that it was alive. And then the freedom code. And I could see it almost appeared like a being. And that sort of through those 2 experiences, it was like, oh my God, they're alive. They literally are living consciousness, living codes of light that are fundamental and supportive of our alignment with diamond consciousnness. So there you have it. That's what we're going to work with today. Rachel says the release code looks as though it is water and ice surrounding the earth. Yeah, there you go. Breaking through. breaking through all of that. Yeah. Everything that has been solidified. There's a lot of symbolism in all of this, of course. The release code is also blue, so that links in with the elements of water. Blue is also the color of the glyph today. So we are working with the watery element to actually help to release. And then the gold of the freedom code represents both fire and the orange of the earth, the gold of the earth, as well as the gold frequency that is the higher frequency that runs through the diamond, if you like, which is an aspect of our original source and realized through the diamond purification. So there's loads of symbolism in all of that. Sort of far too much to go into at the moment. So does anybody have any questions or comments before we go into the process? That's it with my slides for today. Little bit longer than I expected, but that's okay. Love that, Maureen. She says, freedom is my game, freedom is my name. Absolutely. Let's not forget. Yeah. And it's an inner feeling. We can be restricted externally in so many ways, but that freedom is something internal that can never be taken away. Once we recognize that, we embody and we embrace it, it can never go away. Hence that quote by Viktor Frankl in the newsletter. So thank you, everybody, for going through that. And I hope that makes sense to all of you. Yes. Oh, I forgot about that. Thank you for that reminder, Rachel. Freedom doesn't need fighting for. It is who we are. Yes, it is. We don't have to go out and fight for it. We stand up for it, you know. And that's what I thought was just really beautiful when I watched and earlier I got a little 5-minute snippet of what was going on in London today. And what those guys were saying, they weren't demanding their freedom back. They were saying, stand up and take it. Stand up and be it. And I thought, that's beautiful. That's what this is about. So just perfect alignment with everything today, as it always is, just the most amazing synchronicity. So let me just have another final drink and we'll go into the process. Okay, so if you're all ready, what I'd like you to do, as always, now I've actually got the bowl here, the diamond bowl, so we're going to use this today, and I have the freedom code in the bottom of the bowl. So we're going to work with this. So make sure you're comfortable. Arms and legs uncrossed, just gently close your eyes. And begin by taking a long, slow, deep breath in. Just focus your essence and energy on your breathing. In and out, letting your breath find its natural rhythm, slowly, naturally, deeply, refreshing your body. With each out breath, you allow your body and your being to surrender to the process of an even deeper letting go of everything that you thought you were. Just breathing in and out. And in whichever way is comfortable for you, invoke your diamond. Whether you call it in, whether you expand it from the inside, just literally create that beautiful 3-dimensional, 2-pyramidal octahedral form around you so that it's anchored with its center point at the base of your spine, stretching up above your head, down below your feet, connecting to the energy centers above and below. Extending out equally in all directions, for that is the gift and the beauty of the diamond's equilibrium. You may feel your body stretching as you do this, aligning, resting. Be aware of the stillness and the peace within this space. And you can gently rotate your diamond, asking it to spin. First counterclockwise and then clockwise. Notice which way feels more comfortable for you at this moment in time. There is no right and wrong, because whatever you need in order to support the balance of your system will happen. Be aware of what happens energetically with each direction of spin, just slowly. And as you bring your diamond back to a standing static position, you're aware that you don't even need to spin it. For the shape itself guides the flow of universal energy around it, such that you have a toroidal field being formed in one direction, down into your field around the top part of your diamond, and in the opposite direction from the bottom. So your diamond automatically balances the movement and the flow of energy. With your intention, the spinning becomes stronger, the spiraling fields being guided by the shape itself, bringing energy into and expanding your heart, and then being dispersed throughout your body. Just observe, be with the flow. Enjoy the peace and the beingness. And as you surrender into this space, you're aware of yourself relocating to the shore of an incredible lake. It is still nighttime, so the water looks like glass reflecting the stars above it. Each one of you sits on the side or the bank of the lake. It is a balmy evening, and you feel perfectly comfortable, safe. There is a light that is stirring and glowing within you by virtue of your own innate diamond. And you can just make out, as you cast your eyes along the shore, that you are not alone. There are faint glows of light that you can see from other beings calmly sitting on the edge of the lake. And on the surface of the water, which is a bit like glass, you look up at the sky and you can see what we know as the Milky Way galaxy against that deep, dark backdrop. Without interference, the brilliance of that light is staggering. Beautiful. And all around you are simply the noises, sounds of the night, of owls hooting, the odd rustle of the trees, the odd ripple in the lake as the fish and the aquatic animals move. Completely safe. And as you marvel at the reflection in the lake, the perfect replication of the sky above, there's a deep recognition of the role that you play as an aspect of the whole, that each one of you sitting on the sides of this beautiful place represents a unique part of the tapestry of the whole of life. The enormity of what that life is humbling and awe-inspiring. There is nobody else who can broadcast or fulfill that particular niche in the overall tapestry of life. You are a true gift. Within you are the murmurings of doubt, but what you hear now, like a distant echo from the Milky Way, are diamond frequencies of love flowing down silently, barely perceptible, but on those ripples of sound is carried the light code that we know as release. It's a sound that echoes off the sides of the mountains, which themselves look like pyramids. Echoes through your own diamond, amplified. And the release light code is carried into your body on the sound, entering your blood vessels, zipping its way through the water and the fabric of your being, unsticking and unhooking anything that still traps you within the old system. Just let the sound frequencies help to expand your cells. As the code is carried through the blood into the water that surrounds and bathes your organs, burrowing its way into the tissues, releasing nodules of stuck patterning that is lodged in your body. Sending it through your elimination systems, breaking it up. Just allow your body to experience this slow and gentle expansion as all that ties you into the old patterning of who you thought you were, of all that you thought life was, is dismantled within you, like tent pegs being unhooked from the ground, untethered. Rocks in a flowing stream being uplifted so that the flow is no longer blocked. Pebbles being pulverized to sand, because sand is then the building block for glass, for quartz, for clarity, and for illumination. Just see this code zipping its way throughout your body. Allowing yourself to begin to experience the freedom of being physically, emotionally, mentally, just observing. And sitting on the side of the lake, you observe over the distant mountains the rays of light. As dawn breaks and the sun begins to make its way through the sky, the visibility of the Milky Way is no longer there. Yet its consciousness and its image is imprinted within the water. The gifts that are transmitted to support life upon this planet and in alliance with nature's world are encoded into the water. And as the sun rises over the mountains, you look in awe around you at the beauty. Nothing exists other than this moment. As your heart fills beyond capacity, you are able to witness and experience and engage more of your senses. To experience the life, the freedom of this place. The water is a most incredible blue-green, reflecting the clarity of the sky. And you feel the warmth of the sun's rays upon your body. And your attention is drawn to a sound from the bushes, from the foliage behind you. And emerging from the thicket, alerted by the new dawn and the new day, is a family of white otters, each one of you experiencing and seeing and gifted with a family or a community of these amazing creatures. And you cannot help but smile as they make their way across the bank alongside you, stopping out of curiosity to simply observe you. You observe them. And there is a silent acknowledgement and honoring that passes between you. The otters embrace the sunlight and then quickly scarper down the bank into the water. All you hear are splashes along the banks. And then with their mischievous faces, you just observe them playing with each other as a family. And they emerge from the water, one at a time, going back into the foliage. And this time they're going to fetch something. And you are amazed and wonder if you're actually seeing things, because it looks as if the otters are leaving a golden trail after being in the lake. Faint golden threads of light follow them. Beautiful, glowing, pure threads of golden light. And suddenly there is a flurry of activity as they begin to move backwards and forwards between the foliage, bringing out rocks, small rocks, leaves, stones, pieces of wood, bringing them down to the lake, into the water. And all you see weaving its way around the entire circumference of this lake is a golden grid of light as these amazing creatures in their playfulness move backwards and forwards. But the objects that they bring to the lake are with purpose. For after being infused with the encoded frequencies of the water, they then bring the object back out and begin to lay each one of them down in a pattern around you upon the bank. Each one looking at you almost as if smiling, as the golden glow of the pattern taking place, being formed, comes into perspective and into view. Between each of you and the movement of the otters, you can see now very clearly a golden grid of diamonds. And then around each of you specifically, what the otters are transferring from the lake to you, from the galaxy to you, is the living form of golden light of the freedom light code. The ground beneath you hums with its frequencies. Your body begins to resonate and pulse with this light. And the otters, with their joy, continue to fill in the details and the transcriptions of this code. You may find that there are other geometric codes or light language that is being created as they move backwards and forwards. playing in the water. It is an activity of such pure joy and love that your heart glows ever more expansively. The noises that they make as they do this also set up a frequency in your body, enlivening the cells, the tissues, to be able to receive all of the emotions and qualities and aspects and consciousness of the Freedom Light Code. Your heart smiles, your face smiles as you observe them at work and at play. Pure act of nature, supporting itself through you. And then, when the design is complete, the otters line up along the bank and face you. You peer into the depths of their eyes, feeling the resonance of the love and the joy in their bodies. And the code upon which you are sitting begins to raise in frequency, vibrating your entire being, now fractalizing itself to move through into the spaces that were created beyond the confines of your skin and your physicality, embedding itself in the spaces where all of the patterns were untethered or removed, broken down. All of those spaces are now filled with this golden light. And the otters begin to move around and play and bounce around in front of you, creating a physical vibration upon the surface of the earth and through the earth to assist you. It's a transmission of what is possible when we are completely aligned with nature's world order. As all this is taking place, the sun is rising above you to its place, mid-heaven. The water is glistening and ripples every now and again with a light breeze across the surface that make it appear as if there are diamonds sparkling with every movement of the air or the gentle breeze. And each one of you that embraces the codes and the light code of freedom begins to vibrate your own body into the earth, back into the water, sharing this with the otters and sharing with every other sitting alongside the bank. Sharing this sacred space with you, balancing the waters of your being with the creation and solidity of the earth, grounding those energies through you in order to bring the creations of new earth into being one small manifestation at a time. Patience is needed. Play is needed. Play fuels the imagination. And the tendrils of golden light that actually connect you all through this golden grid begin to extend now and grow through the vibration of your being, extending out back into the woods and the foliage, informing the trees of your realignment and the freedom of your humanity, of your commitment and participation as part of a more expansive process of being alive on this planet right now, of your engagement with the shift, of your capacity to evolve. And in this moment, you experience the interconnectedness in a deeply visceral, embodied way. The small creatures begin to emerge also to join you from the foliage. The otters rejoice as they are joined by little mice, by birds. You hear the bird song now become like a deafening cacophony. Expressions of happiness. Right now, in this moment, there is nothing else that is needed of you other than to embrace this which is you. Holding your alignment, being in your freedom. Releasing all that needs to be released. And glowing, golden. The golden threads and fabric begin to weave their way throughout the air. And through the water, they are transmitted down deep into the groundwater, which makes its way to the oceans, to the rivers, to the springs and the wells. And the grids and the codes of freedom flow through the leaves on the trees, the tops of the trees, extending out further, this network that you are a part of creating beyond the boundaries of this lake, of this country, of this place, to overlay and inform the rest of your tribe, your people, those that hold the same value and understanding, and you awaken the codes within them through this golden fabric. It is time, it is time. You call them towards you. In the golden glow, there is an optimism that cannot be extinguished. There is a positivity and creativity moving within you, which will not be denied. There is a love which is still unfathomable outside of the confines of our human understanding. And breathe. As you hold, balanced, beautiful. Deep breath in and out. As the otters now, in recognition that their work, their contribution in this moment is completed, go back to their play without purpose, just for the sheer joy of playing. Your body is regenerating, and there is a wave of laughter that builds up within you, that seeks release and that ripples along the shore, echoing back from the mountains. That laughter is carried also through the water. That joy of release, the joy of freedom. Take a deep breath in. There is no need to release anything, for this is who you are. And with the ball and the diamond frequencies, let's just support the deep embedding of the new code, or expression of the code of freedom within you. As you are brought back to waking consciousness, to this embodiment, to the awareness of your interconnection with the truth and the flow of life. Let the diamond frequencies anchor your diamond field deeply in its correct orientation, helping you to maintain your equilibrium and your alignment. Deep breath in. Extend your gratitude to this environment that you are about to leave, to the otters, to the animal kingdom, to the rest of the natural world for its support, for its pure and simple beingness, for the joy. And prepare to return to this space, this place and time, to open your eyes. And welcome back. How are you all doing? Or is that another one of those places that you don't want to come back from? For those of you that don't know, I just want to share with you this bowl is actually, it's not just a crystal bowl. It is quartz fused with crushed diamonds through a very special process. So it is, the frequencies emanating from this are just beautiful, pure diamond frequencies. So that's the bowl that we were using for that. With the codes. So, Rachel, yeah, I found this process very physical, lots of energy moving through me. That was the intention, because it's not only, we also realize, as has been said so often before as well, is that we are the conduits of the balance points between heaven and earth as we stand within our octahedral field. So it is a very physical process each time we go through one of these upgrades, if you like. Our physical body needs to adjust to those frequencies. Yeah, thank you. My auric field feels beautifully cleansed. Thank you. Yes, wonderful, Carlene. Thank you. Yeah, I love it. So how are the rest of you doing? I just couldn't help but smile through that process, because the sheer joy, yes, of the artists, of that energy, of that space was just, it was visceral. It was just palpable. It was really, really beautiful. As So that's, oh, interesting. So we got a few comments. A picture of joy. When I lived in Wyoming, I saw two otters across the stream, playfully sliding down a mudslide into the water. Oh, what a beautiful image, Maureen. So it's very easy to capture that in that. But the whole essence of those creatures is just so loving and abandoned, and it just is. Just amazing. I saw symbols that were very alive, but I can't describe them. Yeah. Oh, good, because those would be also representing the new codes. It's going to be interesting how your light languages actually translate those, if you like. So I opened my eyes at the end, and so fun to watch you. You could really see the ball. It was surreal. Yeah, interesting. So we've got beautiful. I saw the freedom code in connection with all the diamonds around the earth. Wonderful. Well done. Thank you. It was so, so joyful and a great antidote to the grief. Yes. And that's needed. We have to always balance it, and to acknowledge both, and make sure that we address both, so that we actually hold that flow. There's that infinity symbol, the figure 8, and that's balance today. The letting go and the receiving, letting go and receiving. Thank you. Some more messages. Let's see. Very energetic. I couldn't stop yawning. It's a stunning bowl. Saw lots of color, all colors of the rainbow, and more colors that I can't give a name to. Lots of magenta and yellow and golds. Beautiful. The otters are so beautiful. Not that you can see it on the screen. Thank you, Julie, and everyone else for sharing this space. And I'm infinitely grateful to you guys for sharing this space too. It just isn't what it is. It's got to be in community, because that's really where our power comes from. I experienced a strong sense of deja vu. I was there at the lake with the codes, no words, just so joyful and peaceful. It's beautiful. Thank you, Geraldine. Mary, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that message is. I think the typing has disappeared. And Actent, I'm not sure. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that this is something also that you can go back to. I will extract the recording, as I always do, and then you can go back to it and utilize it over and over when you feel that you just want an opportunity to rebalance and reconnect with that you are, with the new you that is literally being created, with that sense of internal freedom, with the courage. Don't forget, in this code as well, we've also got yellow. So it's not only the gold, which is the spiritual purity. There is the brownie color in there, which connects with the earth. There is also yellow, which connects us with the elements and aspects of the solar plexus, which is about courage. And because freedom requires our responsibility, it also requires courage. So the whole essence of this code is just all-encompassing and just so beautiful to embody. And I'm just so grateful that it was one of the first ones that I saw alive, you know, and just as living color and living consciousness. So, oh, Hillary, Mary said she saw an old otter. Beautiful. Beautiful experience. Thank you so much for creating this space. I came from my global, EC practice, and it blends so well. Thank you, Hillary. And just also, by the by, for those of you that are not familiar with the white animals, because I think a couple of you may not have come across this before, this is not just about traditional animal totems. The white animals are an embodiment of those higher frequencies of consciousness, which is why within the diamond community, we tend to, unless we're guided, otherwise work with the embodiments of diamond consciousness and the sacred white animals. And it was prophesied by multiple indigenous cultures that these animals would appear in greater and greater numbers when there was a shift of the ages. And, you know, the stronger prophecies revolve around the white lion, around the white buffalo, around the white moose. Some of those are sort of really at the forefront, but what we see happening in our natural world, and it has been for probably about 15 years now, is this increasing number of mutants as these amazing white animals actually being born, and there's a lightness to their energy, and it's not just animals, it's birds. You get white blackbirds, you get white squirrels that are popping up. They are just amazing. They are bearers of the new consciousness. They are indicators that the new consciousness is here and ready for us to access. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful equinox further. Hold your space, stay in that balanced space, be in the joy, and be in the peace of that environment. So there's just a little dingy of the bowl to say thank you all so much for your support, for being here in this loving community. Without you, it would be nothing. Infinitely grateful from my heart to yours, and just much love. Hope to see you again for the next gathering, whenever it may be. I'll wait until I'm told. So feel deeply relaxed. Thank you. Yes, I do too, actually. There's some tension in my body that's been there a while that's gone. So grateful to you all. Love you. Thank you.